Well then, I guess that happened. Holy hell. Anyway, hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. We're going to be talking about the final season of Attack on Titan, and we're going to start with episode 1, The Other Side of the Sea. But before we get into this proper, if you are new here and you haven't done so yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, set notifications to all so that you always know when a new video of mine is coming out, and you let all of AniTube know that you're here. And with that said, everybody, this episode was so good. I'm sorry, I should be more composed. I should be a professional, the first Annie VTuber. I should be, conducting myself more professionally, but oh my god, it was so good. Okay, seriously. There is a lot to cover this week. There is a lot of stuff that happened. Obviously, I don't know how I'm going to be able to cover all of it. Like, so much stuff happened, but we're going to do our best. We got to talk about the new characters. We got to talk about attacking the train. This should be called Attack on Train, more like. We gotta talk about taking on the base. We gotta talk about the new OP. We gotta talk about the new ED. So many things. There is some stuff this week that, and you guys know, some of you hate me for it, but I mean, listen, you guys know that I will not shy away when I think that there is stuff that needs addressing about a particular episode. Even if I love a show, odds are I'm probably not gonna love every single episode. That would be silly, and I'm also not gonna just sugarcoat things and lie to you if there's something that I dislike. But there was very little I disliked about this episode. I went into this with big concerns. I was so worried, you guys. I was so worried that Mappa was going to drop the ball. And I feel bad for worrying like that. Like, Mappa is currently delivering with Jujutsu Kaisen. And they've done shows that I adore, like Yuri on Ice, Banana Fish. I believe they just did Doro Hey Doro, which I wasn't personally a big fan of, but I know is really well regarded. So I think my big concern was just it was so much so fast, and if this botched, if this botched, that would, like, I was literally like, I had I'll admit that I had the dudes dancing with the coffin like saved up just to use on Twitter in case Mappa screwed up the first episode, because oh man, they would never live that down. If they botch Titan, that's I don't think you come back from that. But needless to say, this first episode, as like the first episode under the Mappa tenure, I don't know what too many people are saying. All I know is that I was hype. I saw some people on my Twitter be hype. So I don't know, maybe I'm gonna be like the guy praising it and everybody else thought it was just meh. I thought it was really dope. Like, I could be wrong. I feel like everybody's gonna like this episode. I feel like there's something for everyone here. The one thing I will say that it is a bit of a bummer, right? There is one thing that's a bit of a bummer, and that's the lack of familiar faces. Like, we do get familiar faces, don't get me wrong. We definitely get to see Zeke and Reiner again, and I'm happy about that, because I like Zeke, I like Reiner, I think they're fun characters, especially Reiner. I love Reiner. But I was just sort of like surprised that we started with new characters. Now, thankfully, I was told about this. I was told that, like, hey man, there's gonna be new characters, just so you know, you should probably prepare yourself for that. And that's kind of who I want to start by talking about. Like, I want to start with these new characters. I do already have a favorite of the group, and it might not be who you think it is. I don't know how people are gonna feel about all these new characters. I actually, like, honestly, and again, like, I do not sugarcoat things. If I dislike something, I will tell you. I really like these characters. The only one I didn't really like too much was, like, Zofia, only because she's so reserved. We don't really get to know much about her, and with reserved characters, you end up liking them as they go. Like, reserved characters always sort of start, like, you don't know much about them, they're quiet. You don't really get a good handle on them. So obviously Zofia is like the one that I cared the least about. Commander McGrath is also just like a douche. Like, he's just an ass. But like, he's supposed to be. So I kind of, and like they establish like why he's like that. So like, I get it. I wish he would stop being rude to the squad just because of like where they're born. Kind of, that R word that you can't say if you want to stay monetized on here, but it starts with an R and ends with an ist. But yeah, like, again, I feel like he's supposed to invoke that out of you. Like, that's sort of like, wow, what an asshole. Like, he's supposed to start that way. But outside of that, the new characters, listen, man, I really like them. And I want to start by talking about Falco. And no, smart ass, not that Falco. Yes, this Falco. Yeah, so Falco. This is the kid we saw in the trailer, like the shot where he's like raising his hand and like looking up to the sky. Remember where he's like looking for the bird, and he's telling the bird to like get away from here, far, far away. Like, this is the same kid. The fact that he's named Falco, though, I was like a falcon, like freedom. Oh my god. A little on the nose there, you say. I have a little on the nose, but you know what? I'm gonna let you have it because it's funny. But yeah, Falco starts with like, we open with him basically being shell-shocked. Like, he has some slight amnesia, but it's more like he's been shell-shocked. Like, something happened, he took a big hit. This happened in wartime. Like soldiers would get shell-shocked and need the reminder of like what the hell's happening, and it would usually dissipate, I gather. But some people were left with like some severe shell shock issues after wartime. And like, that's the thing, is like the thing that I you know what, we'll save it, but this show has a lot to say about war and what is it good for. Absolutely nothing. Say it again. Okay, sorry. Sorry, JoJo talks too much, am I right? But yeah, Falco I thought was really interesting. He's got this sort of like dirty blonde hair with the green eyes, and you guys know me, I love my color theory. When it comes to green eyes, if eyes are the window to the soul, and we're trying to interpolate what the green in Falco's eyes might mean, also like the dark green in Colt's eyes as well, who we'll get to in a second. Green is typically a sort of like revitalizing color. Like, when you see green, it sort of puts you at ease, and I feel like Falco and Colt have a sort of like a soul that wants to nurture. Like, we see that when Falco like leaps out to save Gabi at one point, even though Gabi probably didn't need the assist. But Falco and Colt as well are just good people who want to help others, and I feel like, is that an incredible stretch just based off green eyes? Yeah, but welcome to the channel, man. I make color symbolism stretches all the time. I like analyzing characters' designs. Unfortunately, with a lot of the new crew, like, everybody's wearing the same outfit, and that kind of kills me. I like the wartime outfits. It really puts you in the mood of like, we are in a war right now. It is serious business right now. But it does kill me. It kills the character design analysis guy side of me, where I'm like, dang it, I got nothing to analyze. But that said, I want to stop talking about Falco now. He's a good boy. I like Falco, but I do think he's gonna get himself killed one day, and I'm worried about that. No spoilers, anime only. But I want to talk about my favorite of the crew now. I want to talk about Colt. Colt is a badass. I absolutely adore Colt. I think he's like this, like, he's serving as sort of like this badass older brother type, not only to Falco, but seemingly to the others as well. And he's serving sort of as like Commander McGrath's like right hand. Well, I guess maybe not his right hand, but he's like the one in charge of the Eldians that Commander McGrath doesn't feel like dealing with. And Colt is apparently supposed to be in charge to be the next Beast Titan. These kids are supposed to be trained as warriors, and so they will inherit the next the Titan abilities, like, once the time calls for it. So Colt is seemingly going to take over Zeke's position at some point, which is like crazy to me. But yeah, Colt is going to be the one in charge of that. I loved Colt. I thought that they made such a good impression with this character. Like, such a good impression. I was so impressed. Like, when he like runs out to save Falco and he makes it. Like, the fact that he doesn't die, I was so positive like they were gonna kill him just to make Falco feel bad. But yeah, no, Colt survives and is like kind of having this like back and forth with Commander Magath. Not McGrath. Did I say McGrath? I meant Magath, or whatever his name is. The Commander. Colt is having this back and forth with him, and Colt's not taking too much of his shit. Like, he will take his shit when necessary, because yeah, he's his commanding officer. He has to. But at the same time, he is pushing back, and I do think that Colt has a lot of good ideas, and he knows what he's talking about. But the commander's telling him, like, you need to accept that war comes with death. Like, there's gonna be people who die. You need to accept that if you're gonna inherit the Beast Titan. Like, that's something you have to accept. I'm very interested to see how Colt's character develops from here. I thought he was super interesting. But briefly talking about the other ones, you got Udo, the Megane boy, who I thought was really funny when he was, like, almost gonna kill Falco because he was so pissed with the Marlians, because these characters are Eldians which listen, man, I'm not like a lore expert, but I believe the Eldians used to be in charge of the Beast Titans. The Marleyans had an uprising. They took 7 of the 9, or 9 of the something or other. They took a bunch of the Titan, like the big badass, like strange Titans. They took some of those. And then the Eldians left to Paradise Island, or Paradise Island. I don't know how it's pronounced, but they leave to the island that we know. And the Eldians that we have here, they work for the Marleyans. So Udo is like insulting the Marleyans as he's trying to fix Falco's head, and he's like tying the tourniquet, but it's like really, really tight, which I thought was kind of funny, just him like losing his shit. I like Udo a lot. I thought he was funny. Again, like they had a very limited amount of time, and it's gotta be snappy, man. You got like 24 minutes. You gotta make this episode count. You gotta like give us as much as we can to care about these characters before we see bad things happen to them, which I think is inevitable. But with Udo, I thought they did a good job. Zofia, not so much. I'm not even going to really show her on screen. There's not much to say. Her character design is cool. Like the white hair, the blue eyes, it's kind of neat. I don't really have much to say on that because I know nothing about her character, so I can't comment too much. But the other character that we got to talk about is Gabi. Gabi has this like short brown hair, brown eyes. Her design's like cute, like, which I wasn't expecting. Like a lot of the designs in Titan are sort of like, I don't want to say like ugly because that's a little mean, but they're like, they feel sort of like rough, you know, like a lot of the character designs feel like all the characters have gone through some shit, you know, so like a lot of characters look rough save for like a few. Like Historia, I'm thinking, is like one of the few who don't look quite rough, but Gabi looks sort of cute, right? So it's like, okay, I wasn't sure what to expect. And she seems to be the one who's having the most fun, which is weird, because again, like, this show makes it very clear that war is hell and you don't want to be there, so it's strange to have a character who's like having fun and like excited to possibly become the successor of the Armored Titan, as she says that like this was their test, like taking over the fort is the last test to see who will be the successor of the Armored Titan and take over Paradise Island. And yeah, like this will lead us nicely into talking about like attacking the train. But yeah, Gabi as a character I thought was really fun, and I don't really know what I can say about her design. Like brown eyes are typically, like, a lot of people have brown eyes, and like, listen man, I got brown eyes, so don't take this as an insult, but brown eyes typically denotes one of two things: either a sort of boring character, a dull character, or a dependable one. You can rely on them. And I do think that Gabi is reliable in the sense that like she's gonna get the job done, but it's just that like she's a bit of a liability, and we'll get into why. But to get into why, we gotta talk about attacking the train. And Gabi's plan is legitimately really dope, but oh my god, was that reckless. Like, I was so sure she was toast, right? Because like when you see her like tying the grenades together, I was like, oh, that's actually, like, really clever. Like, it took me a second to realize what she was doing. I was like, oh, actually, yeah, that's clever, but you still have to get there. You know what I mean? Like, you still have to get to the train. That's still very shaky. That's a scary idea. And then the idea for her to be like, you need to let me take off the uniform and take off my armband, and I'm going to walk over there. So Gabi is totally, like, vulnerable and walking with something attached to her leg, and the other, like, whoever's guarded the base, they see that. Like, they see something attached to her leg, but they can't quite make it out. And I'm like, oh, this is genius. Like, when she trips, and I'm like, oh my god, Gabi, you legend, right? Because I'm like, okay, this is really clever, but it's so insanely reckless. Like, I was like, okay, this probably would never work. But the fact that it did made Gabi look like a genius. You know what I mean? Like, made Gabi look badass. Except for when she starts cheering, I'm like, no time for cheering. Why are you cheering? Run, dude. But Gabi says, nah, I'm not gonna run. I'm gonna take a moment to cheer, and then I'm gonna head back. And she almost gets got by a Gatling gun until she's saved by this dude, Galliard, who is the freaky-looking lion-type Titan. He's interesting looking. I like him. Galliard will prove to be a big badass for most of this episode. I was shocked how well they really like established this like badass Titan. He just looks like I say he looks like a Titan because he's got, or not a Titan. I say that he looks like a lion type of Titan because he has like this mane, and he has like these like crazy big claws, and the way he runs and the way he like lands and stuff, I'm like, he kind of reminds me of a lion. I don't know why. But yeah, Galliard, really cool. Really cool Titan. I want to see what this dude is like outside of Titan form. You know what I mean? Because he's clearly like a shifter, so I want to see like what he looks like outside of it. But yeah, I really dug Galliard. I thought he was cool. He does a lot of really nifty stuff, not only saving Gabi, but later saving, basically this man's job is just to save people who get into dumb situations. That's Galliard. And he saves Reiner later as well. Galliard's cool as hell. But yeah, they really nail like the badassery with that character, but they also nail something else that I want to stress, and I can't stress this enough. This show makes war look like hell. What Titan does really well this week is have the cool visuals that make you get all hype, but then remind you of the grim reality that a lot of the characters are facing. Like when you see all the Eldians who are working for Marley just looking terrified, these soldiers being forced to run into bullet fire, no part of that is glorified. The Titan stuff is glorified because it's fun and it's a friggin' shonen anime and it's not real, but those moments, that feels like Isayama's trying to tell you something, and he's trying to say that war is shit, is not good. We shouldn't be sending people to die like that. And I was legitimately moved by like how freaked out they made the other soldiers. And even Gabi has moments where she's like, holy crap. Right? Like Gabi, the character who's like having fun, even she has moments where it's a lot. You know what I mean? And I really love that that Mappa handled that so well. Like just this like impact of like, yes, it is fun to watch this, right? Like, yes, this show is fun. Yes, it's intriguing. Yes, it has some hype as hell action scenes. But at the end of the day, you are reminded of the human cost of that. And I think that they really nailed it, in my opinion. But, of course, we gotta talk about some of the hype stuff, and it's raining Titans! Hallelujah! Yeah, the idea that they attack this base by raining Titans down was so cool. And, like, Reiner saying, like, I am so sick of walls. And he, like, just lands down and breaks the walls down! Hey, 2000s wrestling reference. Anyway, yeah, just, I will say that there's moments where Reiner's, like, attacking the base where he moves, like, freakishly quick. And we've always known that Reiner moves freakishly quick, but, like, a little too quick, where I'm like, something that size would not be able to move that quick. You know what I mean? And, like, Old Titan definitely, like, had Reiner move at the weight that made sense. As we went on, Reiner seemed to get a little quicker, but I was always sort of like, okay, well, I understand why, because we're having fun. And it's the same thing here. Like, does it bug me? Not really. Like, it's like, yeah, he shouldn't be able to move that fast, given his size, but at the same time, it's an anime, dude. I'm willing to let some stuff slide, and that would be one of them. And again, Galliard shows up, saves Reiner at the last second. Reiner ends up, like, taking down the base, and then Zeke arrives for the big baseball pitch, which he did last season, and killed my favorite character for When I Miss You. And yeah, Reiner like kind of jumps in the way to protect Zeke when he almost gets bombarded by like a bunch of like missile fire, and it looks like he dies for like a second, but like we know that's not the case because we've seen the trailer. I don't know how many times you guys have seen it. I lost count personally. But we've seen the trailer, and if you watch the PV, like, for next week's episode, he's there, so I was like, I don't know who we're kidding, like, Reiner's obviously not dead, but they make it seem like, oh no, Reiner's dead, but, like, obviously not. And you know what, man, that is pretty much the episode. Like, it's just a badass, and yet mixed with, like, somber type of vibe. It is Titan, like, Titan has always been badass, but somber. And I think Mappa really picks up the pieces and runs with it. I'll admit that, yeah, I was concerned because, like, new studio, and I knew that we were going to start with new characters, but I'm, like, really, really happy with this first episode. Like, really, really happy. I thought the new cast was really good, considering, like, they had such a short time to flesh them out, and, like, obviously they're not done yet. We're going to learn more about them. But I like what I'm seeing so far, and I like the idea that it fleshes out both sides. Like, it's not just that, like, Marley bad. Like, although Marley is bad, but like, it's not just that like the guys attacking our guys are bad. It's like we kind of understand where they're coming from. We understand who they are as people, which is gonna make it all the sadder when inevitably the groups are going to clash. And very quickly, I want to talk about the new OP and ED, and this is where I have to tell you that I'm always going to be truthful with you. Yeah, the new OP kind of sucks. I'm not, like, a big fan of the new OP. I get what they're going for. I totally understand. Like, it shows the destruction. There's pretty colors because, you know, gotta razzle-dazzle them. I thought the violin was a cool touch in the OP, like in the song. I thought the violin was a cool touch, along with birds falling, which then cuts to people falling because, you know, metaphor. But this is a series with tons of good OPs. Like, we've even ones where, like, we don't have Linked Horizon. The OPs are typically, like, really solid. So I was sort of, like, surprised by how just sort of, like, this was. If I might remind you guys of another OP that I really didn't like, but like a lot of other people did like, which I don't super understand, but it gave me the same vibes as like that Tokyo Ghoul reopening. I don't remember what it was called, but the reopening where it's just like Kaneki's face and like nothing happening, like it kind of reminded me of that, which is not a good sign. It's not the worst thing ever. I think the song fits. It's just the visuals are so like bleh. And I'm like, bro, this is Titan. You gotta bring it for a Titan OP, and I just don't really feel like they did. That said, I do like the ED. I think the track is really, really good. Very much fits the series pretty well. I like that Falco is positioned in front of the birds, and then that transitions to like the war that they're fighting. The visuals I thought were really solid. Falco reaching out for the bird, and then it takes flight. Again, metaphor. But it does make me think Falco's going to be around for a while, given that he's in the ED, which I am happy with because I like Falco, and I want to see more from that kid. But yeah, I thought the ED was better than the OP, which again, for Titan, that's a little weird. But that said, everybody, that is going to wrap up today's video here. Sorry this went a little longer than the videos have been going lately. But yeah, I had to gush. I had to gush. But with that said, everybody, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to boop that up snoot. That means hit the like button if you're confused. Share if you care. Leave a comment down below. And of course, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell. Set notifications to all and let all of AniTube know that you're here. And before we go, as always, I want to give a big thank you to the good folks in the T Squadron. Look at these beautiful people. Look at all these beautiful names, and hey, if you would like to join these beautiful people, there are now 2 ways to do so. The first is by hitting that Patreon link in the description, and the second is by hitting that join button right beside the sub button to get a badge next to your name, some emotes to spam in the comments, and of course your name scrolling past the screen here. So if that sounds cool to you, go ahead and hit that join button, or check out the Patreon link. Either way, it is super appreciated. So once again, a big thank you to the good folks in the T Squadron. That's it for me. Oh, by the way, by the time you see this, I believe this will be the same day. If you want, we're doing in the totally opposite direction to the mood of this video. Me, Anime Uproar, Evanito, and Cyanide Blizzard are going to be doing a new podcast. It's going to be 12 episodes long, covering every episode of KHO week to week and doing some Q&A with you guys. So if you want to check that out, I will leave a link in the pinned comment. If it's not there, remind me. We're gonna be doing a KHO podcast called the KHO Chad Podcast. So if that sounds cool to you, go ahead and check that out. I know, super random to talk about at the end of a Titan video, but it's there if you want to check it out. And until next time, you stay classy, AniTube, and wash your dang hands.